Dave says you're not supposed to let your diesel engine idle when it's cold out. I can tell you right now, that's bull crap. Well, I got some tanks loaded up. Got back with the 2 tanks. So I'll try to get this offloaded here. But basically, this is where it's going. I gotta trim the bumper bracket a little bit. Of course, I have that, like, what's left of the mud flap bracket to cut off. And I got the steps to take off also. But now you can see where that 150-gallon fuel tank is going to go. It's going to be the same thing on the other side. He didn't have any good toolboxes right now to put there, but he'll get some of those later, and also get a few more 100-gallon fuel tanks, because the ones he has right now are already sold. So I just gotta wait a little while. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need one of those magnetic drill presses to drill all those holes. Got the matching fuel tank to go on this side, which I gotta reroute the exhaust a little bit, but I was going to cut it out anyway because it's rusted. Same thing, got that little mud flap right there. A little bit of the bumper bracket to remove to get out of the way. Not the whole bracket, just probably this like A-frame piece that goes to the front. Even if I cut that whole bracket off, the hitch receiver I'm going to get will have its own bumper also on it, which is 300 gallons together, will give me at least 3,000 miles of fuel range, which is definitely enough to drive out to California, but not back though. Oh, and you also got to keep in mind, I'm not going to have these tanks full all the time. I'm only going to use maybe 1 or 2 for like the primaries. The other ones will be used if I do plan on going out to California. So like basically I'll figure out how many miles it's going to take to drive wherever I'm going and back, and then I put as many gallons as I need, you know, with a little bit like a 20% extra, just to be sure I have enough. And you also are probably wondering the weight and things like that. That is a 20,000 pound axle. Well, that's what it's rated for, and that one is rated for I believe it was 10,000 pounds. So I can handle 30,000 pounds like I was saying in previous videos. So 300 gallons of the homemade diesel fuel, which should be about 6 point something pounds per gallon, because it's mostly oil, it's not diesel fuel. Diesel fuel is like 7 point something pounds per gallon, but with the way a homemade diesel fuel mix, 300 gallons is roughly a little over 2,100 pounds. So even with 600 gallons, that's only 4,000 to 5,000 pounds max with all the fuel. That's literally half of what my bulldozer weighs. Stinky Pete weighs 5,500 pounds. And you might be wondering, oh, what about the load ratings of the tires? If I remember correctly, the tires are rated for like 5,000 pounds each. No, I think 7,000, hang on. Yeah, 5,500 pounds each, you know, so there's 4 of them on the back. That gives you about 25,000 pounds you can put on those tires on the rear, and about 15,000 pounds you can put on the front. So like again, like I was saying, the drivetrain on this bus is rated for like 30,000 pounds. Now, this motor is not going to like pulling it, but it might only be doing like 55 or 50 miles an hour down the highway, but it will do it. But also keep in mind, for me running low boys, doing oversized loads, I've easily done 100, 150, almost 200,000 pounds total combination weight. So I am perfectly fine hauling that much weight with these brakes. You know, just making sure you start stopping advance, keeping a safe following distance, stuff like that. Well, I got this section off now, and the more I get this apart, the more I think I should get one of the battery box and air tank combos from the junkyard. Because that means I can move the toolbox forward, I can move that forward, have the air tanks and everything out of the way. And I might have a full 6 foot here for another 150-gallon tank. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. You know, I might go down to back down to that junkyard and see what he has down there. Because I was just looking at, it's like a battery box that bolts onto the frame like the fuel tanks do, and right below it is like 2 little air tanks. So that can eliminate that air tank completely and move it like basically under the battery box. Well, I'll get that section cut out and take another look at it and measure some stuff. You know, while I'm thinking about it, you know, if somebody's building a schoolie like this and did not want all the extra fuel on board, you could do just all toolboxes for storage And to help save you some room, you can basically turn that into the septic tank. You know, you have to put put in your flange for your input and a flange on the output, and then the tank on the other side could be your water tank if you wanted to. Or they make actual plastic black water tanks that can bolt right up to those cross members under there with some like support straps or hangers. Okay, that's out of the way now. The more I look at this, I think the better off I'm going with that battery box air tank thing from one of the other trucks down at my friend's junkyard. That way I can have, instead of only 3 batteries, I can have an extra battery and move that air tank completely out of the way for the 100-gallon fuel tank. Just means more holes I gotta drill in the frame to hang everything off of. It would be nice if I had a plasma cutter. That would be really nice to cut the holes out with that and then just use washers. But that's still a long ways out. I'm going to do pretty much all that during the summer when it's warmer out. It's not so wet and muddy and freezing. Got some of the electrical working on the bus. I see why the left side is not working. Somebody cut off the wire right there that went to that prong right there. Then that little plug and that little plug goes to those little indicator lights, which are not plugged in. And the switch is bad. I have it jumped. But that was a very easy fix for the flashers. The key ignition, I figured out a few things like that. Why the running lights are not working, or headlights, is because this switch is corroded inside and it doesn't make good connections. So it's like as you rattle around, it makes connections, doesn't make connections. So basically, either I need to exercise it until it cleans all the corrosion off of it, or I gotta put another headlight switch in it. These wires went to a switch for the heated mirrors. That's what those wires are hanging there. The turn signals are working, but not the 4-ways, so I still gotta figure out why that's not working. But luckily, I don't need to use the 4-ways on the steering column as long as those work. Yep, the horn works. It's not taking much, but I'm getting most of the electrical up and going. Luckily, the person who had this before did not do too much of a mess. So like the way they hooked up the CB radio, it's just going to take me a little work to put everything back to where it's supposed to be. I also figured out why this interior light is not working is because the wire right there kind of ripped off that wire. So I just got to reconnect those. But it is like, I would say 95% of the electrical is still all original like it's supposed to. So it's very easy to figure out. Most of the stuff is not working just because of the corrosion, because it's been sitting for so long. So just exercising a few things, wiggling some bulbs and stuff, everything starts working. So like the key, when you go to start it, is activating the relay under the hood, but it's not sending power from that relay down to the starter. So that's all I need to figure out for it to start with the key ignition. Yep, that headlight switch is pretty shot. Oh, you know, in case somebody's wondering, some people might wonder how do these knobs come out. Well, in case you not know, there's a little button right here you push in. While you push it in, it comes right out. So see how it's in? Push the button in, and then it comes out. See how it catches in that little groove there? I'll fix the headlight switch and then I'll go from there, seeing what bulbs might be out. Because the headlights were not turning on at all. The running lights came on, but not all of them. So it might be putting power to 1 prong for running lights, but not the 3 prongs. So that really isn't much for electrical to fix. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that. Some mouse nest crap came out of that blower motor. So I got more of that to clean out of there. You know, down in there. But it's not that bad though overall.